What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing my incredibly rare Great League Rayquaza once again, but this time with the legacy move Dragon Ascent. When I first showcased this Pokemon, I didn't have access to a Meteorite, which is necessary in order to get this move, which I think is a bit annoying and a pointless mechanic, but whatever. I think it's a much better move than Hurricane for Rayquaza. It is 5 more energy, but it deals a lot more damage, and it still requires the same number of Dragon Tails in order to reach, so I think the trade-off is perfectly fine, although I do kind of feel like it would have been more consistent if I just ran Aerial Ace, which did get a buff this season, which is obviously really frustrating for me since Meteorites are very rare and I already had to TM away a different legacy move in Hurricane. So if I were to now run Aerial Ace, I'd have removed 2 legacy moves in order to get it. In general, I just think that Niantic continuously bringing out exclusive moves that can't be acquired through the use of regular TMs is awful, especially when they then go and buff the non-legacy moves, making those exclusive moves redundant. Anyways, that's enough moaning about the TM system for now. This is a very similar team to the one I ran last time, but I didn't want it to be exactly the same, so I'm running Shadow Dragonite as the save swap instead of Haxorus. And with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What's the rarest Pokemon you have built for the Great League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, lead Sandslash into Medicham, so awful lead, gonna save swap into my Dragonite, and this is one of the reasons why I did swap to a Shadow Dragonite save swap instead of the Haxorus, because up against Medicham, probably the most common lead in the Open Great League right now, we can at least win the 2 shield scenario if the opponent wants to stay in here. We're going to go for that Dragon Claw straight away, throwing just before they make it to the Ice Punch. Unfortunately, because we're 1 turn behind, they do outpace us. I let the move go through here. Kind of questionable, but I'm thinking they didn't swap out, so maybe they don't have a great response to a dragon and flying type Pokemon. I'm able to fully farm them down from this range, but they've got a Registeel in the back, so the reason they didn't swap out is because they take super effective damage from that superpower. But we go for a resisted Dragon Ascent that still does huge damage to the Registeel. We debuff our defense, but it doesn't matter. They're running Lock On, they go for a Zap Cannon, debuffing our attack as well, but now I'm going to debuff their attack with a Breaking Swipe, and this will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, so we swap into our Shadow Alolan Sandslash. The opponent is going to make it to a challenge move. It's just a Night Slash, doesn't do too much damage, doesn't get the boost, and with the debuff I think we should even live a Hydro Cannon from this range, just barely. And now here I don't want Registeel to get any extra farm, so I undercharge the Drill Run. It means I get the Dragon Tail farm down. I'm only 3 away from the Breaking Swipe. We make it in time, and you can see we're already credited with the win because the opponent concedes the match. So GG's to that opponent there. You can see Dragon Ascent does a lot of damage even when it is resisted up against that Registeel. But into the next game, another Medicham in the lead. So once again, going to save swap into Dragonite. The opponent a little bit slow to swap out there, so I do make it to the superpower on the CMP tie with the Rock Slide, and the opponent does shield. So at this point, that's the best I can get out of this matchup. So I will let Dragonite go down. And now I'm going to wait out the Switch Shock and then come back in with my Alolan Sandslash here. I will be able to overfarm in this matchup and throw on the CMP type once again. I'm not 100% sure if a Drill Run takes them out from this range, but the opponent shields, which is better for me because now when I make it to the next Drill Run, I can guarantee it will KO. So all I've got to do here is overfarm in this matchup. They only go to the Rock Side. I can live this. I've got to be careful of a potential snipe with the Medicham, but that's fine. We're not actually in range there, so I do overfarm a little bit more. We go for the Drill Run. Drill Run takes out the Stunfisk. We have a second Drill Run loaded to throw into the Medicham, and now we've just got to hope that Rayquaza can sweep this game. Now Medicham does have some energy. They throw on alignment, which is perfect for me because I get an extra Dragon Tail in for free. We're going to overfarm. The opponent comes in with an Altaria. We can go straight for the Breaking Swipe. This will debuff their attack, and this will allow me to fully Dragon Tail farm them all the way down. We come out with minimal HP, but we have a second Breaking Swipe loaded, and this will be enough damage to take out the Medicham, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Alolan Sandslash into Obstagoon, so awful lead for us once again. Gonna save swap into Dragonite, and the opponent responds with an Azumarill. And this is one of the unfortunate things about the Dragonite save swap compared to the Haxorus, is that unfortunately we do get completely walled by Azumarill, which is a lot more common this season with the rise of Pokemon like the Gligar, for example. So unfortunately, they do take us out with a single Ice Beam, but we can come in with the Alolan Sandslash. We've got to count the bubbles here. If they do farm up to a Hydro Pump, then I will have to shield it because I can't really afford to let the Sand Slash go down. But the opponent throws on the CMP tie. This is just going to be another play rough. I will let this go through. We actually undercharged that, and now I can go for a full farm down, coming out with a drill run loaded, which we're going to throw straight away into the Obstagoon. And if you're wondering why I continuously go for drill run instead of Ice Punch, it is slightly better in terms of the damage per energy than the Ice Punch here. So the opponents have got a Talonflame in the back. We can go for the Breaking Swipe, debuffing their attack here. I'm going to shield this up, probably going to be a Flame Charge bait. It is the bait with that Flame Charge, but that's fine. We can overfarm, go for another Breaking Swipe just before they make it to the next Flame Charge, and we will resist the Flame Charge here, so I have to let this move go through. A Night Slash is going to do more damage than a resisted Flame Charge. We still get the Dragon Tail farm down, and we make it to another Breaking Swipe in time up against the Obstagoon before they farm me down, and Breaking Swipe takes out the Obstagoon from that range, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Charge Bug in the lead, so a fairly neutral lead matchup for us. I'm going to stay in initially, just go straight for an Ice Punch here. I throw this time the Ice Punch just because we can get to it before they make it to a potential Discharge or Crunch. I'm going to let the move go through. They go for the Discharge. We swap into our Shadow Dragonite, hoping to snipe with the Dragon Breath damage, and we are barely able to get that farm down there. Looks like they should have made it to the charge move, but obviously didn't get the new mechanic. Maybe they did stutter lag there. I'm not really sure, but the opponent comes in with an Alolan Sand Slash. Now this is very awkward for us. I can shield, go for a superpower, but they probably will be able to fully Shadow Claw farm me down if I do that. We're going to go for the superpower anyways. I hope they no shield this, but the opponent is going to respect the damage there, get the full Shadow Claw farm down. Now I'm going to try to be very clever, come in with my Rayquaza and force them to go for an Ice Punch and then swap into my Sand Slash, but the opponent doesn't throw straight away. Maybe I should have waited an extra turn or two in order to catch that move there, because I didn't really give my opponent enough time to even think about what they were doing. But here we're going to shield up the Ice Punch from this Sand Slash. They come in with a Gligar. This is still potentially winnable here as we go for a Breaking Swipe straight away. Breaking Swipe does debuff their attack, and now can we get the full Dragon Tail farm down before they make it to the next Aerial Ace? It's going to be very close here, but no, we're not able to do so, and even so, I don't think we would take out the Sand Slash with a Breaking Swipe there. So GG's to that opponent, very well played. And into the next game, we see Sand Slash into Dedenne. Now this looks like a pretty good lead for us, but it's a bit tricky for us. I don't really want to double shield my lead because both my Pokemon in the back are incredibly glassy, so without shields they are very difficult to use. So here we do grab an early shield here. I'm going to shield this up. I probably will let the next one go through. I know Discharge won't be enough damage to take us out, but it is going to do quite a lot here, so we're going to let that go through. It does get us incredibly low. They might be able to snipe us with something like a Medicham or something else that is running counter, so we've got to be very careful of that. They do overfarm, go for the charge move just before we make it to our next charge move. I'm going to let the Discharge take us out, come in with my Shadow Dragonite, and the opponent is going to go for a Discharge here, which we should barely live. So I'm actually going to let this go through. I'm hoping this is their hardest response to a Dragon type here, so I can come in with my Rayquaza, get the Dragon Tail farm down. They come in with a Toxapex. All shields are down. How much damage is a Dragon Ascent going to do up against the Toxapex? It nearly takes them out, but they barely survive, and that is so painful for me. Toxapex, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in this meta. They barely hang on, they get off a charge move, and because we debuffed our defense, I kind of had to shield that, even though it was resisted. But here we go for a CMP tie. We win CMP, debuff their attack, and we should be perfectly fine now. We can come back in with the Dragonite. I do overfarm just for the sake of it. We go for a superpower. This will easily be enough damage to take out the Umbreon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Skeledirge in the lead, so not great for us. I'm going to go for one Shadow Claw and then swap out because I can get that through before we take any Incinerate damage. And also, the opponent stays in here. We end up winning this CMP tie, which is very risky for me because they could have gone for an extra Incinerate and got 5 free turns in there, but they do go for that Disarming Voice. They then swap into an Umbreon. I'm going to go for the superpower straight away. The opponent goes for the extra Snarl, which is unfortunate for me, but we do land the superpower that does big damage, and I'm happy at this point. A foul play with the debuff will be enough to take us out from that range, so I will let Dragonite go down. Going to come in with the Sand Slash, of course, as it doesn't have a great matchup up against the Skeledirge, but up on energy, it can do a lot of work here. So we're going to overfarm in this matchup, go for the Ice Punch here, throwing just before they make it to the next charge move. Honestly, could have gone for one extra Shadow Claw, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to swap out once again, and they've got a Gligar in the back, so we're going to go for that Breaking Swipe as soon as we get there. This will debuff their attack, meaning we should be able to live an Aerial Ace from this range, so I might let this go through, or I might shield it. I'm not sure. We let the first one go through, and I should be able to fully Dragon Tail farm them down here. They unfortunately barely outpaced me to the next move, but that's fine. Anyways, gonna grab my final shield. We can go for one extra Dragon Tail before going for a Breaking Swipe. A Breaking Swipe debuffs their attack. We can now go straight for that drill run. I think they only had a disarming voice loaded. They needed to make it to the Shadow Ball or a Flamethrower to take us out. So we go for that drill run straight away, taking out the Skeledirge, and I'm able to take that game. But into the next game, we see a mirror match there as the opponent save swaps into Medicham. Now, typically, at least I found a lot of the time last season, when I saw a Alolan Sandslash in the lead, they had Medicham and a Azumarill in the back, which is quite difficult to deal with for my backline. So here we're going to go for a Dragon Claw. The opponent does use a shield. They will be able to outpace us to that Ice Punch because they did swap out straight away. But now we can fully Dragon Breath, farm them all the way down. And I hope they come back in with the Sandslash, but they're probably going to come in with the Azumarill here, and they do exactly that. Now I'm going to bank all of this energy, swap into my Sandslash, and just hope they're not running Hydro Pump here. But the fact they're throwing means they probably are, and it is a Hydro Pump. It nearly takes us out. We go for an Ice Punch straight away, and Ice Punch is just not going to do much damage whatsoever. And at this point, it's game over already. We cannot get rid of this Azumarill. You can see they're actually slightly under-leveled with their Azumarill. I'm not really sure why. We've had quite a lot of events with Azumarill or Marill or Azurill in the past, and Azumarill has been top meta for like basically every season in the Go Battle League. But here they go for an Ice Punch, they take us out. We can go for a superpower to take them out, but there's no point. We can't get rid of the Azu, so we do lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. And into the next game, we see a defense form Deoxys, so we say swap into Dragonite. And they've got Alolan Ninetales here. This is awful for me, but they do end up throwing here on the CMP tie, which is perfectly fine with me. Obviously, Superpower won't take them out. They could have just farmed me down, but they choose not to. They go for a Weather Ball, and now we can actually fully Shadow Claw farm them down with my Alolan Sandslash instead. So that's really good for me. They're only going to make it to a Weather Ball, or at worst, maybe a Psyshock. But Psyshock still is resisted damage here, so we do take that very easily. They come back in with Deoxys. We go for that Drill Run straight away, dealing some nice damage. They're going to stay in with Deoxys initially, swap into an Umbreon, and we can now go for Breaking Swipes. I'm probably going to shield the first charge move from the Umbreon here, as I can continuously debuff their attack. So we're going to shield the first one. We will make it to another Breaking Swipe before they get off the next foul play. We're going to throw them every single time we get there straight away, so we can't debuff even the Snarl damage from this Umbreon, and I will actually double shield in this matchup. I could live this, but I do shield, and they actually full send a Last Resort, and I see the Switch Shot coming up, so we swap, we catch the next move, and we might have even caught a Last Resort, and we have a double debuffed, resisted Last Resort, and that allows me to make it to an Ice Punch. This should be grabbing the final shield from the Deoxys here, and they've got energy, but it doesn't matter. Breaking Swipe will be enough damage from this range to take out the Deoxys, and we're one away from the next Breaking Swipe. I think Umbreon was energy dry anyways, so we probably could have just farmed them down, but Breaking Swipe takes out the Umbreon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Unova and Stunfisk in the lead. Now, I actually saw quite a few of them in the lead, kind of odd. But we're going to go for an Ice Punch straight away. The opponent also going for their charge move straight away. Ice Punch going to be super effective, so it does grab a shield. Likewise, Mud Bomb will be super effective, so I will use a shield. And what I'm going to do is try to catch the next move onto my Dragonite, and I'm able to do so successfully. And this is going to be double resisted. Mud Bomb doesn't do much damage. They also come in with Alolan Marowak. Now, I don't throw straight away just because I didn't want to give them the opportunity to get an extra Hex in for free, but they throw straight away. So now I do use a shield. We're going to go for the Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw will be enough to take them out from this range, so they use their shield, but we make it to the next Dragon Claw as they're reaching the next charge move, and Dragon Claw takes out the Marowak. They come in with a Medicham. Now I will be able to make it to another Dragon Claw before they get to that Ice Punch, but what I'm going to do is actually go for that Dragon Claw, swap into my Sandslash, and snipe them with an Ice Punch before they can react. And this is perfect for me because a loaded Medicham is very dangerous for my team, but like that, we get the snipe. We even make it to an Ice Punch up against Unova and Stunfisk. This won't quite take them out, but it will get them incredibly low, and now we can come in with our Rayquaza and just very easily Dragon Tail, farm them down from this range. One Dragon Tail, two Dragon Tails, takes out the Unova and Stunfisk, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, another Medicham in the lead. So going to say swap into our Dragonite. The opponent responds with an Azumarill, so not great for us whatsoever. We go for a superpower. It is only single resisted, whereas the Dragon Claw is going to be double resisted. So it is the right move to go for. We throw straight away, basically just trying to hope that they do throw straight away as well. But they do overfarm a little bit. They go for the Ice Beam. And I'm hoping once again that if they're running Ice Beam, maybe they're running Play Rough as the secondary charge move. So I will come in with the Sand Slash. We don't throw straight away. This is just going to be a Play Rough here, so I will let this go through. And now I can overfarm in this matchup. I'm not sure if a Drill Run would take them out here, but the opponent makes a very nice catch onto the Medicham. Although they do give up switch advantage here, which is fine with me. We're now going to come in with the Rayquaza. I should be able to shield once and then just fully Dragon Tail farm them down. At least I'm hoping, but they go for a Power Up Punch. But they don't make it to another charge move, so that is very good for me. Now they come in with a Wall Rain. This is bad. I think my only win con is going straight for the Dragon Ascent, but they end up shielding it. They can easily Powder Snow farm me down. Maybe if I just went for back-to-back breaking swipes, we would have been a lot more comfortable. I would have debuffed their attack by 2 stages, and here a double debuffed, double resisted Icicle Spear would not threaten a shield from this range either. We go for the overfarm. I know Drill Run won't quite take them out from this range, but Icicle Spear basically takes me out, and at this point I give up, and the opponent's able to Powder Snow, farm me down, and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Not an awful lot I could have done up against that team. It was a triple hard counter, but the fact they gave up switch advantage gave me some play. But maybe I should have gone for breaking swipes in that matchup there. But into the next game, we see Steelix in the lead. They go for breaking swipes straight away. Fine with me. We do resist that. Very comfortably tank that. We go for a Drill Run here. We make it to a second Drill Run up against the Steelix. And the opponent is going to let the Steelix go down. They come in with Medicham, so we swap out straight away into our Dragonite. And once again, because we get a 1-turn swap there, they are slightly ahead on energy. They make it to the Ice Punch, but they come in with a Gligar. Now we're going to go for a Dragon Claw in this matchup. Dragon Claw probably going to grab a shield from the opponent. No, they let it go through, and they overfarm, allowing us to make it to another Dragon Claw before they go for the Aerial Ace, which is fine with me. We get them incredibly low with those Dragon Breaths, and now at this point, I don't know if they're going to make it to another dig here up against my Sand Slash, so I'm just going to come in with the Sand Slash, fully sacrifice it. If they do make it to the dig, that's fine, but I will let the move go through. It's just an Aerial Ace, so I swap into my Rayquaza. We get the snipe with the Dragon Tail, and now we are ahead on energy with our Rayquaza. We can go straight for breaking swipe. This will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and I will be able to outpace them to the next charge move before they make it to back-to-back Ice Punches. They go for the first one here, but they need the second one straight away. They're not there, so we do make it to that second breaking swipe, and this will be enough damage to take out the Medicham, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sand Slash into Drifblim, so pretty good lead matchup for us, but if they are running Mystical Fire, then that does make this very tricky. So I'm actually going to go for an Ice Punch straight away, so I throw it before they can debuff my attack here, and the opponent going to go for that charge move straight away as well. And it is the Mystical Fire, so this is a little bit more dangerous for us. We're going to go for that second Ice Punch straight away as well, and then I will try and catch the next move onto my Shadow Dragonite, and I'm able to successfully do so. Mystical Fire going to be resisted. And the opponent's going to come in with a Toxapex. Now, we are debuffed, so unfortunately, I won't be able to get rid of this Toxapex here. They will be able to fully Poison Jab farm me all the way down. We go for the first Dragon Claw. We will be able to make it to a second Dragon Claw, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be quite enough damage here. So Dragon Claw doesn't quite take them out. I think if we weren't debuffed, we probably would have got that farm down. But now we can come in with our Sand Slash. All they can do is go for Brine. They are very close to the back-to-back, so I'm going to take the first one on my Sand Slash and then swap into my Rayquaza, catch the second Brine here, as this is resisted damage, and I will be able to Dragon Tail farm them down. But no, the opponent swaps back into the Drifblim, but we get the farm down before they make it to another charge move, and the opponent's going to wait out and then come in with their Toxapex once again, and they've got a Venusaur in the back, and I was hoping they'd stay in so I could land a Dragon Ascent, but unfortunately they do just concede the match there. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Bastiodon in the lead, and when they're staying in, this is looking really good for us. It could potentially be Grassol, in which case, if it is, then they are in for a world of trouble here, as the opponent is going to stay in, go for a Flamethrower. I will just shield this up, of course. I will be able to fully Shadow Claw, farm them down before they make it to another charge move, and they do get me fairly low, but it doesn't matter. We've got nearly 100 energy. They come in with the Shadow Victory Bell. We go for an Ice Punch straight away, grabbing a shield. Now I swap into my Dragonite, expecting it to be another Grass type in the back, so we go for the Dragon Claw, making sure we get rid of this Victory Bell. And it is another Shadow Grass type. It's Venusaur actually, and I'm able to easily take them out there, so the opponent just concedes the match. Didn't even need the Rayquaza for that battle. But into the next game, we see Defense Form Deoxys in the lead. Unfortunately, they've got a Dugong in the back, so this is really bad for us. Gonna go straight for that superpower, grabbing a shield from the opponent. Now, we're in a really bad position here because Dugong can go for Drill Run. It is super effective. We do at least double resist the Ice Shard damage. Probably should shield the first one here because it's very likely that they do just bait with an Icy Wind now. Because we are very low, it's not really that risky if they do go for a bait here. So I will shield this up. It's probably going to be a bait. It is the bait with the Icy Wind, and then they swap back into Deoxys. We come in with our Rayquaza, but Dugong is a little bit too healthy here, where even if we shield this, debuff their attack, and go for a full farm down, we can't really farm down the Dugong either because we will take massive damage from those Ice Shards. So we go for the Breaking Swipe, debuffing them for a third time here, including the double debuff from their Psycho Boost. They go for another Psycho Boost. We will get the full Dragon Tail farm down. But you're going to see here, we have to go for that Breaking Swipe to get rid of this Dugong. But the opponent can safely just shield it up. Unfortunately, they get the full Ice Shard farm down. And they've got Diggersby in the back. So there's no point in throwing any charge moves here. We let them quick attack farm us down. And unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent. Not a lot I could have done in that battle, but into the next game, another Medicham in the lead. The opponent swaps into Bastiodon, but they stay in for quite a while here. What I'm going to do is go for a Dragon Claw, hoping to grab a shield here, and then I will hope that if we grab that shield, we can go for the superpower straight away. And is this enough damage to one-shot a Bastiodon? No, it's not quite enough damage there. I needed to flip that matchup because they've probably got another very hard response to our Rayquaza in the back. I'm going to let this move go through, hope that they don't have a hard response. Flamethrower actually doesn't take us out, and we will come out with an Ice Punch loaded. So we're going to go for it straight away and hope that a 2-shield Rayquaza can sweep in the end game up against Medicham, but they've got a Shadow Trample, so literally nothing we could do there. We played it perfectly, but yeah. I mean, some teams are just going to completely hard counter your team. That's just how it is, unfortunately. But into the next game, we see a Talonflame in the lead. So they swap into Shadow Dragonite, and the opponent responds with a Lantern. So going to go for that Dragon Claw straight away, grabbing a shield from the opponent. Honestly, with the spark damage, they probably can just go for a Surf here, and it probably does take us out from this range. Dragonite very squishy, especially in the Shadow form, but we're going to go for another Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw grabs a shield from the Lantern. They throw pretty much straight away, so I'm happy to let the Dragonite go down. What I can't really afford to do is go all shields down with a Talonflame in the back, because a Brave Bird would probably one-shot our Rayquaza, and of course the Flame Charge is going to one-shot the Sandslash. So here we're going to overfarm in this matchup, go for the Ice Punch, and this will be enough damage, even though it's resisted, to take out the Lantern. Gonna swap into our Rayquaza. The opponent comes in with Medicham. They stay in for ages before swapping into the Talonflame. We can perfectly overfarm here, throwing on the CMP tie, and Breaking Swipe takes out the Talonflame, and now we're in a great position here. The Medicham will be able to make it to 2 moves before we do make it to a potential Dragon Ascent or back-to-back Breaking Swipes, so I'm just gonna go for it straight away here. We do have loaded energy on the Alolan Sandslash, so I should be able to just go for an Ice Punch straight away. This Ice Punch will be enough to take out the Rayquaza, of course, but we have that Ice Punch loaded. We're going to go for it straight away into the Medicham, coming back in, and Ice Punch takes out the Medicham, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Sandslash into Lantern, so a bit of a awkward situation here. They're actually running Water Gun, so what I'm going to do is go for the Drill Run straight away. I will be able to outpace them before they do reach a Surf, and then I'm going to swap into my Dragonite, trying to catch a Surf. We don't catch the Surf here, but we do at least resist the Water Gun damage. They farm up to a Thunderbolt, so I will shield. It is the Thunderbolt, so good shield usage there, and they come in with a Hypno, so I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw. We've got quite a significant energy advantage, so the opponent lets the first one go through. They're going to have to shield up the next Dragon Claw if they want to keep their Hypno alive, and the opponent will use their shield there. They probably can just fully Confusion farm us down, but they don't commit to it here, so they're going to go for an Ice Punch, takes out the Dragonite, but they won't make it to another Ice Punch, so I do come in with my Rayquaza, get an energy advantage, and they've got a Greedent in the back, so I can live a Body Slam. Gonna let it go through. I really want to land a Dragon Ascent, so I'm going to swap out here just before they make it to the next Body Slam, but the opponent swaps at the exact same time as me. Now here, I would have made it to a charge move, but actually, I'm going to just fully Dragon Tail, farm down the Lantern from this range. They do barely make it to a Surf, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think a Dragon Ascent from this range should easily be enough damage to take out the Greedent from this range, but does it KO? Yes, it does, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Shadow Gramble in the lead, so good lead for us, but kind of scary. and the opponent's going to swap into a Lantern. So we respond with our Dragonite. Probably should have come in with the Rayquaza just because I can debuff their attack. But we go for a Dragon Claw. The opponent lets it go through here. And I think they might be able to make it to a second charge move before I do get the full farm down. So let's see, it's going to be close. Can we get the full farm down? We weren't quite able to do so. We had to throw here. I think this is a CMP tie. But the opponent lets it go through. They come in with the Gramble. They farm us down. We're going to go for an Ice Punch straight away, hoping to just basically land this. I hope they do let it go through. But no, of course, they're going to shield. And then they catch the next charge move onto their Medicham. So this is going to be game over for us, unfortunately. We can come in with the Rayquaza. My only hope is that I can fully Dragon Tail farm them all the way down from this range. But I just don't think it's going to happen here. They go for an Ice Punch. Can we get the farm down? No, it doesn't look like it. So I have to go for the Dragon Tail, the Breaking Swipe. The opponent lets it go through. We've got another Breaking Swipe loaded. We can throw it into the Gramble, probably grab a shield from this range, but it doesn't matter. They can go for the close combat. Even if they go for a Crunch or even like a Play Rough or something, it will easily take out the Sand Slash, and we do unfortunately lose that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Lantern in the lead. So we're going to stay in this lead matchup, go for the drill run straight away, and the opponent CMP ties us here. We do win the CMP tie, and drill run goes unshielded. It does big damage. I'm going to preserve the health on my Sand Slash here, and then I will eventually swap into my Dragonite, go for the snipe, and the opponent is going to let us farm them down. And they come in with a Shadow Golbat. So here we're going to go for a Dragon Claw just before they make it to a Poison Fang. The opponent probably going to overfarm just slightly with their Golbat and throw just before we make it to the next Dragon Claw. So I'm going to let this move go through. I'm hoping they're in range for me to farm them down with my Rayquaza. They might not be, but I don't really care. We're going to come in with the Rayquaza here, just because otherwise I don't think we can Shadow Claw farm them down before they make it to a Poison Fang and a Shadow Ball, and I don't want to risk it. But the opponent comes in with a Licky Tongue. We're going to go for that Breaking Swipe straight away, stay in for a little bit more, get a few more Dragon Tails off, and then swap into my Sand Slash. They are debuffed, so their licks aren't going to do as much damage, and Body Slam's certainly not going to do very much damage as it is resisted. We grab the shield there, and now they go for a Body Slam, and now we can just go straight drill run in this matchup. They make it to another Body Slam though. Body Slam still not going to be enough to take us out here, and we do make it to the drill run just before they make it to the lick farm down. And drill run does some nice damage. Hopefully we can Dragon Tail farm them down. It's going to be incredibly close though. So let's see, the opponent goes for the Body Slam. It doesn't quite take us out. They swap into the Golbat, allowing me to make it to a Breaking Swipe up against the Licky Tongue, and this will be enough damage to take out the Licky Tongue. And I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Sand Slash into another Alolan Sand Slash. So very difficult lead matchup to play out. I'm going to go for the drill run straight away. I did find that I won CMP most of the time. Just have a slightly attack weighted Sand Slash. The opponent is going to shield it, and now I might call this here. I do. It's actually an Ice Punch. That is really fortunate for me, and the opponent comes in with their Medicham. So I'm already expecting it to be the Azumarill in the back. So we've got our work cut out for us here. They actually go for Dynamic Punch. So I'm assuming they're not running Ice Punch if that's the case, otherwise why wouldn't you just go for the Ice Punch? But we go for a Dragon Claw, taking out the Medicham, and it is the Azu here. So this is really tricky for me. I don't want them to fully bubble farming down, so I probably should go for the Dragon Claw actually, just because it doesn't debuff my defense, because now actually obviously Superpower going to do a bit more damage, but they can just fully bubble farm me down. So yeah, not sure why I've done this. I'm going to bank the Superpower though, come in with my Sand Slash, hope it's not a Hydro Pump, and the opponent goes for a Play Rough, and that's perfect for me. We don't quite make it to a drill run. The opponent goes for the snipe there, but we grab the shield anyways. We've got the Superpower loaded. So we can come in with the Dragonite, go for the Superpower straight away. This will be enough damage to take out the Sand Slash here. But I don't think we're going to be able to take them out with a Breaking Swipe from our Rayquaza. And this is where Aerial Ace would be so handy. We would easily win this game with Aerial Ace. We shoot up the Ice Beam. I'm going to overfarm as much as possible. Go for the CMP tie. And is a Breaking Swipe enough damage from this range to take out the Azu? No, it's not enough damage there. Aerial Ace would easily take them out there. And unfortunately, Ice Beam takes out the Rayquaza. And we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Haxorus in the lead. So going to say swap into my Shadow Dragonite. And the opponent takes a lot of damage from those Dragon Breaths there. Before swapping into Registeel, going to go straight for that Superpower here. And Superpower going to do big damage to the Registeel. They let it go through. And even though I debuff my attack and my defense here, and even though Zap Cannon is going to debuff my attack, I can fully Dragon Breath, farm them all the way down. Flip switch advantage. We are down a shield, but I don't really care. They now come in with a Spark Lantern. We can go straight Dragon Claw in this matchup. Hopefully we can make it to 3 Dragon Claws here. It's going to be close. We're already at the 2nd Dragon Claw, so we're going to go for it straight away. Dragon Claw gets them fairly low. We make it. We barely don't make it to the next Dragon Claw, but it doesn't really matter here. I can just fully sacrifice a Sand Slash from this range. The opponent going to go for a Surf here first. They need to go for a Thunderbolt to take us out. Once again, don't really care because we can come in with the Rayquaza. I will be able to shield once and fully Dragon Tail farm down the Haxorus from this range. And I will just be able to fully Dragon Tail farm down the Lantern as well. And I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see a Alolan Sand Slash into Defense Form Deoxys. So going to say swap into the Dragonite, and the opponent's going to stay in with the Deoxys here. So I'm actually going to let this move go through. Typically, they do have an Ice type in the back, so I didn't shield that up just because I didn't want them to then come in with a Dugong and just farm me down anyways. But they've actually got a Licky Tongue here, so we grab a shield with the Superpower. Not a great position to be in because Sand Slash with Shadow Claw doesn't do that well in this matchup here. But that's fine, we're going to let the first move go through. The opponent going to go for a Body Slam most likely, and Body Slam is resisted, but these licks are really chunking us, and they will put us into farm down range with another Body Slam. So we go for the Drill Run here. We can tank another charge move from this range, so I will let this go through, and the opponent's going to swap into their Deoxys, trying to snipe with the counter damage. They only get 1 off, which is good for me because I do preserve some of the health on that Sand Slash. They go for a Psycho Boost straight away. Now I can overfarm in this matchup. We go for a Breaking Swipe. I don't expect them to shield in this matchup, so Breaking Swipe takes out the Deoxys, and the opponent is going to wait out the switch clock here, come back in with their Licky Tongue. We go for a Breaking Swipe straight away. Not 100% sure how much energy they've got, so we throw it straight away, and they've got a Shadow Swampert in the back. So this is looking pretty good for us. I can shield this up. I know the Sand Slash does have a bit of energy, so I don't need to be smart and try and make a catch here at all. I can just go for the Breaking Swipe, grab the final shield from the opponent, stay in, force them to throw their energy, and I should be able to make it to an Ice Punch or a Drill Run to take out the Swampert from this range, and I'm able to get to that Ice Punch here. An Ice Punch will easily be taking out the Swampert, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.